UFC Fight Night Vegas 44, Font vs Aldo has just taken place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well, starting with the early prelim opener of Louis Smolka versus Vince Morales. Vince Morales gets a first round KO, brutal KO to start off the card. Louis Smolka doing quite well early on, attacking the body and the legs, couple of shots upstairs as well, but Vince Morales was going for the head more than the body and the legs, and it paid off for him. As Louis Smolka came in, Vince Morales landed a big right hand from the break of a clinch, it seemed like, as well, and just takes Louis Smolka way off of his feet, puts him on the canvas, finishes him off afterwards as well. Close first round to begin with, but Vince Morales puts him out cold. I picked Louis Smolka to win this one by second round rear naked choke. I thought he'd use his grappling, but no. Stand-up fight to begin with, both guys throwing heat. Vince Morales gets a first round KO. I believe it's one of his first KOs ever of his career. I'm sure he's had some TKOs, but this was for sure the biggest power shot I've ever seen come out of Vince Morales. Big win for him. He's now, I believe, on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Good streak right now for Vince Morales, doing quite good with his own career. I don't know what's next for him at bantamweight because he's 11-5 and whatever, but he's good, and he got a first round KO, so good for him. I hope he gets a bonus. Moving on up the card, Claudio Puelles versus Gruetzemacher. I went with Claudio Puelles here. I picked him to win by decision. I thought he'd win the first 2 rounds and lose the third round based on the pressure. It actually got a little bit hairy here and there. Gruetzemacher ending up on top. Looked like Claudio Puelles was starting to slow down, but so was Gruetzemacher as well. Puelles landed some really nice body kicks early on that I think established a good cardio base for himself at the start of the fight and slowed down Gruetzemacher to not let him get that much pressure off. But even still, I had Claudio Puelles winning the first round, winning the second round. He won the grappling exchanges. He ended up on bottom in the second round at some point, but he still landed so many shots on the feet. I could still see the second round going towards him. It could have been 1-1 going into the third, though. It was a very close second round. But Puelles won the fight, and he rocked Gruetzemacher in the second and first round as well in many occasions. So I definitely think he won the first 2 rounds, even with Gruetzemacher getting some control time. And in the third round, he kept going for that leg. He eventually got the leg. He tried a heel hook a couple of times, and Gruetzemacher would sort of stand over him and sort of stack over him and make sure that he couldn't get the leverage on it. But then eventually he changed it to a knee bar and got the knee bar in the third round. Submission win for Claudio Puelles, one of the better wins of his career. Gruetzemacher just beat Rafa Garcia, who's pretty good at MMA himself. So, good win for Claudio Puelles. Good finish, knee bar finish. I believe he said it's the third one of his career so far, so it's definitely a speciality of his. Silly decision making by Gruetzemacher, really. Shouldn't have been on the ground with him. Should have kept it standing and tried to wear him down. He was doing good on the feet, but Claudio Puelles gets this one done by third round submission. Very good performance by him. Moving on up the card, William Knight versus Alonzo Menifield. I picked Alonzo Menifield to win this one 2 rounds to 1. No, I picked Alonzo Menifield by submission, I believe, at some point in the fight. No, TKO to crucifix ground and pound is what I was going for. And at one point in the first round, it looked like he was going to get that crucifix ground and pound TKO. Landed good shots on William Knight in the first round, big shots early on. But then William Knight came back at the end of round 1 and dropped Alonzo Menifield quite badly. Landed many shots on the back of Menifield's head, no pun intended, over and over and over again. But no one cares if it's William Knight or Derek Lewis or certain opponents, and certain fighters are allowed to hit the back of the head for some reason, but he kept smashing the back of the head of Menifield in that first round. He won the first round, though, 10-9, won it back for himself for that knockdown, and took mount at the end of the round as well. But they had some great scrambles throughout this fight, early on especially. As the rounds went on, it got a little bit slower. Alonzo Menifield clearly won the second round, but even at the end of the second round, William Knight, Gyno man himself, the clear roid cheat himself with Gyno on one side in the middle of his fucking 30s. Nothing to see here, USADA. Big shots at the end of round 2. Huge shots at the end of round 2. Rocked Menifield all over the place, but Menifield still, I believe, won that second round. And then round 3, I thought William Knight won the third round. I saw a lot of people saying robbery. I picked Menifield to win. I saw William Knight winning that third round. He did more on the feet. He landed more shots. 19-8 on significant strikes. Alonzo Menifield just did fucking nothing but lean against him against a cage and throw away the win like a stupid fucking retard. But either way, Alonzo Menifield doesn't want to be a UFC fighter, just held on against a cage in a round that he desperately needed to win to try and convince the judges that he'd won without actually doing anything, whereas William Knight was landing knees in the clinch, landing punches at range at times, and even came on with an onslaught at the end of the third round as well. Didn't land many of them, but landed some of them glancingly, and Menifield did fucking nothing. So you can't blame it. William Knight won the fight 2-1, first and third round. Moving on, up the card, Cheyanne Vlismas versus Mallory Martin. Honestly, women's MMA gets a lot of stick, but women's strawweight's always fun. And Cheyanne Vlismas has really good stand-up. Maybe some of the best boxing on the card outside of the main event and the co-main event, of course, as well. But really good boxing. Really good boxing from Cheyanne Vlismas. Great combinations. Good kicks as well. She won herself the first round. She won herself the second round. She won herself the third round. I saw it at 30-27. Two of the judges gave it 29-28. I have no idea how they did that. Mallory Martin had some control time here and there, but didn't really do anything with it whatsoever. Vlismas landed more total strikes in those positions. More significant strikes at range. 37-24 in the first. 37-23 in the second, which was the one considered to go to Mallory Martin, which is weird. And then 60-33 in the third round as well. Great pace, great cardio, great boxing, great skills shown by a very, very game. What's her name? Cheyanne Vlismas. I kept calling her Cheyenne Bays in the middle of that fight, but no. She got the job done in a very good performance and got it done. Really, really well. Really well done by Cheyanne Vlismas. Maybe that divorce was a very good idea because now she can focus on herself and do quite well. She showed great takedown defense. And again, the boxing was the main thing that she won in. So good job to her. Moving on up the card to another fight that was on the card, which was Bryan Barbarena versus Darian Weeks. I could see an argument for Darian Weeks winning this one. In all honesty, he got the takedowns, 4 out of 8 in the fight. Got the control time, 3 minutes 18 in the first and second round. He outlanded Bryan Barbarena 26-21 in the first round. 49-32 even in the second round as well. I can see an argument for Bryan Barbarena because he was throwing way more. But he wasn't even throwing way more. So I could just see that maybe with the throws that Bryan Barbarena was doing that weren't even fucking landing, that maybe the judges would think some of these have got to be landing. There's no way he's missing all of them, but he was actually missing all of them. But the judges are going to think, you know what, we're hearing noises. I'm sure he's landing these shots. There's no way he'd throw that many and miss that many. He can't be that shit. But then Bryan Barbarena came back in the third round, had a great performance there. If it was up for grabs in the third round, it was razor close, by the way. I'm not saying a robbery or anything. I just think it was a interesting decision that could go either way. But Bryan Barbarena, third round, put it on, got the job done in the third. Darian Weeks, of course, taking it on a week's notice. No pun intended again. But Bryan Barbarena got it done in the third round. Good performance, good work throughout the fight. Darian Weeks maybe has potential as he moves on, but it's not good to lose to Bryan fucking Barbarena if you're like the future of the division, undefeated, great amateur career. Don't lose to Bryan fucking Barbarena. Moving on. But then again, Bryan Barbarena almost beat Vicente Luque, so don't you hang your head up. He looked decent. Maybe he could be better on full camp if he has a bit more than a week's notice. If he has 2 weeks' notice, he beats Bryan Barbarena. It was that close. So, credit to him. Good performance. Not quite good enough to secure it in the judges' eyes. They had it 2-1 Barbarena. Moving on, up the card, Manel Kape versus Zhalgas Zhumagulov. I picked Manel Kape to win this one by TKO. I thought he'd win it in the third round after Zhalgas Zhumagulov slowed down, but no, they went straight at it in the first round. Both guys landing big shots. Manel Kape put him down with a big shot at one point, then landed more big shots. It was like a crisp 1-2 after Zhalgas threw a kick. Pink, pink. Down goes Zhalgas Zhumagulov. And then Manel Kape finishes the job on the ground with some good shots. Dropped him before that as well, in a great performance overall. Just a really good fucking showing from Manel Kape, honestly. He showed what he's all about against a good opponent who's beaten Tagir and Bekov in the flyweight division. I don't know how Manel Kape is not ranked, and I know it's because he lost to Mateus Nicolau. He beat Mateus Nicolau. He lost to Pantoja. That's not an argument, and even he agrees by not bringing it up that that's not an argument. He did lose quite clearly to Alejandro Pantoja, but he definitely beat Mateus Nicolau. So arguably he should be ranked number 7, but he's not, and it's kind of criminal. So I say we put him at number 14 or even number 13 because who really is Amir Albazi beaten? So, well, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, but not by first round KO he didn't. He won by decision or late rounds finish. Can't remember what it was, but it was a decision, I believe, 29-28 against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. So honestly, who has Sumo Dwergi beat? Last fight was against Zaruk Adashev. So, Manel Kape should be number 12. Number 12, Manel Kape. Let's do him versus like a match now if he gets an opponent, or David Dvorak if he's looking to come back soon. We could do Dvorak versus Manel Kape. Feature fight of a fight night card. Build it up a little bit. It'll be a great fight. But yeah, Manel Kape, great performance. Called out. Said everyone needs to call out him because he's a big star. Great post-fight interview. Soon to be a big name in the flyweight division. And again, the UFC flyweight division keeps getting better and better. And we've got another guy to watch out for, a Manel Kape. A great win against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Way better than I expected him to be. And showed good power recently as well by 2 first-round KOs. Does take a while early on to ease into a fight. Looks a little bit green early on. Took a couple of big shots from Zhalgas. Then eased his way into it and landed his big shots and got the job done. Good job by Manel Kape. Moving on up the card. Maki Pitolo versus Dusko Todorovic. I picked Maki Pitolo to win. To be fair, he looked like he was going to do quite well in that fight. I know it's hard to tell that based on the first round because it was a first round finish for Dusko Todorovic. But Maki Pitolo was pretty significantly outlanding him on the feet in the early part of that round. Leg kicks, body shots, head shots as well against Dusko Todorovic. Looking really, really good. Dusko shoots a takedown. Maki does the mistake that so many male fighters make. If you aren't a women's flyweight or featherweight or bantamweight, don't bother pulling guillotines in MMA. Don't they watch the sport? Guillotines never work unless your opponent is a pussy coward. That's just how it is. People don't get choked out by guillotines. They find their way out of them. It's a very easy submission to escape. I know I'm not the guy myself, so I can't really say that, but at the same time, I'm watching so many people escape guillotines with simple movements, passing over the legs and getting to an opposite side. It's so easy to escape. But Maki Pitolo tries to pull a guillotine, wants to be cut from the UFC in that way, pulls the guillotine, almost has it for a second, but Dusko knows, I'm not a bitch, so I'm not going to tap to a fucking guillotine. Almost nobody goes out cold to a guillotine outside of Machida against John Jones. You got to have some really fucking long arms to be able to do that to someone as well. Maki Pitolo throws it away, gives up full mount as well by clinging on to the guillotine for so long rather than looking for a better position. Dusko ends up on top, big ground and pound shots. Good win from Dusko Todorovic, honestly. Really good win. He gets the job done, and he puts himself back on track. A great win against an up-and-comer. Hopefully he can improve and do well in his own career in the middleweight division. Moving on up the card to the main card. Alex Morono versus Mickey Gall. I picked Alex Morono to win. I thought he'd win this one by decision. I thought he'd be a little bit more dominant. This wasn't as crazy of a fight as I anticipated it to be. But yeah, Mickey Gall did okay, but he's just not that good, is he? Really? Morono put him down at one point, I believe in the first round. Landed a good shot there. Worked him in the first round as well with the volume. Not much grappling went down in the fight though. Round 2, Morono barely outlanded him with the volume again. And then round 3, he secured it by landing the better shots. At one point in round 2 though, Morono did get cracked and wobbled for a second. And Mickey Gall has got some good power, you have to admit. He's got some decent power in his hands. He just doesn't really seem to be able to put it all together. And he does leave himself vulnerable. To be fair, both of them were winging fucking overhands. Like downies out there. And it was really struggling to watch. But, yeah, good win from Alex Morono. Got the job done over 3 rounds and looked good. He beat Mickey Gall. He beat him convincingly. He won every round in my opinion and in every judge's opinion as well. And he got his win bonus. And Alex Morono's still winning fights, doing well in his own career. I believe this is now 3 in a row since the Pettis loss. Yes, it is. Donald Cerrone first round KO. David Zawada by decision in a very close fight. And then also Mickey Gall by decision as well. Good 3 wins. Time for a jump up. Maybe against a Nico Price or a Tim Means or something like that. Let's move this guy up the rankings. Moving on to another fight that happened, which was Brendan Allen versus Chris fucking Curtis. Right. Really good KO by Chris Curtis. Right hand straight on the chin after a body shot brings Allen's hands low. Good right hook on the chin. Puts Allen down. It wasn't the most powerful looking punch again. Chris Curtis, man, he's never had KO power in his entire career. Watch through the regional fights. You've got fucking 37-year-old bums taking this guy to a decision. But in the UFC, against the UFC middleweights, he does have one-punch KO power. Maybe it's a fact of moving up to middleweight in general, stopping draining himself and having that power and having that gas tank. But yeah, another 1-week notice fight for Chris Curtis. Wasn't really preparing for it, but still beat one of the best prospects in the middleweight division in Brendan Allen by KO. Arguably could have been winning the fight before then, but I thought Brendan Allen barely won the first with that leg lock attempt. Maybe at some point he could have stolen that first round, but good win fight by Chris Curtis. Wasn't even really a come from behind KO because the first round arguably could go to Chris Curtis. He landed more shots. Didn't realise that. So first round Chris Curtis. Second round was his way as well. Allen started to do well as the round went on, but the body shots were adding up for Chris Curtis. And again, the middleweight division gets exposed to be the shit fucking pile of shit division that it is. Muradov losing to Mearshart. Phil Hawes losing to this guy. Brendan Allen losing to this guy as well. This guy's a regional bum. Would not hang in the welterweight division. I'm just being honest. People like Chris Curtis. I like Chris Curtis. He's got a great personality. I watched him on the Schmo Zone podcast. Any friend of Sean Strickland is a friend of mine. I understand it completely. just fucking sad to see Allen not go for his takedowns enough and entertain the stand-up. And I feel like Curtis was tricking him into it and sort of fighting the ego a bit, because Allen kept smiling and going, yeah, I'm still here, but you're losing. You know what I mean? Like, shoot a takedown. Change things up a little bit. But middleweight, again, puts itself on the map as the worst fucking division in MMA in general. I can't believe they're so high up the pound-for-pound list. Izzy should be down the bottom of the pound-for-pound list of champions. It's like a... it's a real problem at middleweight right now. There's no prospects. We can't keep prospects because people who couldn't even make the UFC at welterweight are beating them. And it just is welterweight's doing well. Like, Chimaev's going to run through the whole division. Middleweight's just a free division to conquer for any welterweight coming up. So welterweight should have the ideology of doing it. So I know Usman doesn't want to fight Adesanya because they're the same race. But if Usman moves up, he'd do well as well. He'd have a great chance of beating Izzy himself. I think all fighters at welterweight should consider a move to middleweight, because these middleweights are fucking garbage. Even our best prospects that look like they could be future champions get chinned by Chris Curtis. Good win by Chris Curtis, though. He got the win. He got the performance bonus as well. Very good for him. Extra 50k in the bank for another big upset win. It's just sad to see a guy who, Brendan Allen, could have been something at middleweight. I just don't believe Chris Curtis can be anything at middleweight. He's 34 years of age. If he gets to the belt, he'll be 36. Ain't going to happen at middleweight. And he's just too small to beat the guys like Izzy with that range and reach advantage. But yeah, good win by Curtis. Just UFC, not even against Curtis. This is against the UFC. Stop giving these middleweights welterweights. They will lose. They will lose. Middleweights are shit. Realise this. Give them as many cans as you can. Stop giving them welterweights. Please. Welterweights will ruin your division. Curtis probably won't even stay at middleweight. He'll probably dip down to welterweight now. And he just killed two prospects in Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen. Stop giving these middleweights actual fighters who know what they're doing. They're all a bunch of spastics. Let them fight other shit middleweights. God, leave that middleweight division isolated on its own. Otherwise it will never blossom. Moving on to another fight on the card. Good win by Chris Curtis. I'm happy for him. Good win, turning his life around, getting some good money. Very good for him. Moving on to another fight. Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos. Finally, a fucking underdog I picked. I picked Clay Guida to win this one as the rounds went on because I knew Leonardo Santos has a fucking shit gas tank, and he showed a shit gas tank. But, arguably, in the first round, Leonardo Santos could have finished the fight. In all honesty, that fight could have been stopped in many occasions. They saw that Clay Guida was trying to stay in there. He was hurt to the body, so it's a bit of a different situation. But once he got hit by that knee and went down face first, I reckon they could have actually stopped it. I mean, look at the Riddell Fiziev stoppage. Like, he went down, they immediately stopped it. So, they arguably could have stopped that fight if you look at other stoppages on the card even. So, credit to Clay Guida for surviving it. And Leonardo Santos, as soon as he was done with that flurry, he took a deep breath and was wheezing after that flurry that he landed on Guida in the first round. And Guida started to come back towards the end of the round, get some control time, land some good elbows of ground and pound to make it not a 10-8 round in my opinion, because he started doing good towards the end of it. I'm burping. He started doing good towards the end of the round to stop it being a 10-8 round. And then round 2 happened. Leonardo Santos still completely fucking gassed out. Guida does one thing, and it's come forward with pressure, and it can break many people if they don't have a good gas tank. And this made Grant Dawson look fucking shit, because Grant Dawson almost lost to Leonardo Santos, and Clay Guida just melted him in round 2. Fair play, he emptied out the gas tank looking for a finish, and he shouldn't have done, but Clay Guida wrestles his way to a victory, gets the rear naked choke in the second round. I'm happy for him. He made good money. I think he made something like 180,000. Maybe he gets a performance bonus, and he does get a performance bonus here. Wow, they gave out 5 performance bonuses. And fight of the night for Vlismas Martin. Martin got fight of the night for landing 80 significant strikes in a bout. Women's MMA. Got to give him an award, I guess. But there you go. Either way, he got a performance bonus. Good for him. Wait, so who didn't get one? So Manel Kape didn't get one for that? Because they had to have a fight of the night bonus? You couldn't give Manel Kape and Vince Morales performance bonuses for their big KO wins in the first round in brutal fashion? But the women, they're so brave. Sorry, I need to get my head straight. The women are so brave for landing a reasonable amount of shots around and having a non-boring fight. Deserves fight of the night bonus. It was a fun fight, but like, no fucking performance bonus for the other wins? I don't get it. Moving on to another fighter on the card who did get a performance bonus again. It was Jamahal Hill against Jimmy Crute. Great performance by Jamahal Hill. Crute was doing decently okay, landed a couple of shots early, but then Jamahal Hill, he finished Jimmy Crute in the first round. But let me tell you this. Something needs to be mentioned, and I'm not taking away from Jamahal Hill's win, but he landed a shot right to the fucking very dead of the back of the head of Jimmy Crute in the first round. Crute ducked forward, coming in for a big shot. Hill threw a hook. Missed, really. But on the way back, the hook sort of like looped round and literally smacked Crute on the back of the head. Right in the back of the head. Face planted down. I didn't even know what hit him at first. I thought it was a missed punch and Crute just fell over. But no, he genuinely got concussed to the back of the head badly. And that's why his chin was so bad for that check hook when he got back up. Tried to take down while rocked. Couldn't get the takedown while rocked. And then Jamahal Hill lands that like sort of like a half check hook. Didn't really extend it fully, didn't even turn it over fully, just sort of lifted it up into the target, Chris Curtis, Phil Hawes style, and landed a check hook and put him out cold. And put down Jimmy Crute, man. Really worrying for Jimmy Crute. Another tough situation for him. He gets hit in the perennial nerve. Complete luck-based thing to happen. Shuts down his leg and then can't stand on it in the middle of the rounds. And then gets hit in the back of the head here and then KO'd afterwards. Not taken away from Jamahal Hall's win. It's still a win. It's still a big KO. And he looked great with his hands tonight with good timing and good precision. But watch the fight again. I've watched it again. I've given myself some time. Straight to the back of the head. Not his fault. Not illegal. It was Crute's fault it landed there. But it's very fucking unlucky. Like the Cejudo Dillashaw situation. But good win from Jimmy Crute. But the Cejudo Dillashaw situation was at least to the behind the ear area. This was straight up dead up the back of the head. But good for Jamahal Hill. Great win for him. 4 strikes. Crute landed 6. But Jamahal Hill's strikes were all fucking enders. So he got the job done. Great performance by him. And he'll move forward in the career. And he had a great call out as well. Paulo Costa or Johnny Walker. Any of those matchups. I reckon he KOs Johnny Walker. Just saying. Good possibility of that happening. Moving on up the card to another fight that occurred, which was Rafael Fiziev versus Brad Riddell. Very close fight while it lasted. Very, very technical fight while it lasted as well. I gave Brad Riddell the first round. Very close first round, but I actually edged Brad Riddell. He outlanded Fiziev in that round as well, 21-19. Landed good shots of his own as well, good hooks. Both guys cut each other open in that first round over the eye. Riddell had a bad cut over the eye, but a lot of it was because of head clashing. They kept head clashing in that round quite a bit. But Fiziev barely got outlanded in the first. Arguably could win the first anyway, in a very slow technical fight. I believe it goes to Riddell because he landed more and it's not like he got rocked or anything like that. So he landed good shots of his own. He landed 2 more of them than Fiziev did. I gave him the first round. Second round was Fiziev's round. 1-1 for me. Great round by Fiziev. Starts to find his timing. Starts to find his range a bit better. Starts to land big shots on the chin of Brad Riddell. Couple of big hooks on the chin. Couple of the best shots of the fight were in round 2 where Fiziev would land good shots. Riddell landed a couple of clean ones at the end of round 2 as well. But oh well. Round goes to Rafael Fiziev. Or maybe Riddell landed good shots at the end of round 1. I can't quite remember it. But round 3 happens. And here's what you want to fucking hear about. Riddell gets a takedown in that round. Riddell's outlanding Fiziev in that round. And I'm thinking, oh my god, I've called it perfectly. Fiziev's going to lose 29-28 to Brad Riddell. I'm going to fucking walk straight to the fucking bank and cash my checks. But no. Will kick KO. This card was actually crazy when you consider it. It's just so weird the way everything happened that I feel like I wanted more from it, you know what I mean? But he will kick KO'd Brad Riddell. Landed a wheel kick. Riddell looked so badly rocked. I don't think he actually called off the fight. I haven't listened to it. Maybe he did say something like, stop, stop, stop. Or if he did say that, then it was a clear stoppage, no problem with it. But he tried to shoot a takedown afterwards. But he would have got finished anyway, so I don't mind the stoppage. But it was weird. Even though it wasn't a bad stoppage, it was weird and a bit early. It was kind of like the Whittaker versus Jacare situation, you know? Weird time to stop the fight, but it would have happened anyway. So, oh well, let it happen. Good win by Rafael Fiziev. Gets the wheel kick KO. Calls out Vince Vaughn after the fight as well. He's always got a wacky call out for himself. I like the call outs of random people. Really do like those call outs. And they're going to get him more popularity as well. But, like, let's call out the contenders, you know, because you could get a top contender here. He could have called out Gregor Gillespie and got that matchup. He could have called out even an RDA and got that matchup. Who knows? Maybe even an even higher contender like Michael Chandler. Sign me up for Michael Chandler versus Rafael fucking Fiziev. Only just fucking thought of that shit. Make that fight immediately. Call out the contenders next time. Main event of a fight night. Michael Chandler, Rafael Fiziev. Solid co-main event underneath it as well. And you've got yourself a fucking great card. That'd be a great thing to do, but Rafael Fiziev gets the wheel kick KO. Riddell kind of looks like he's like, oh no, but I think he was kind of rocked and he kind of switched back on whenever Herb Dean came to separate it. Switched back on and shot a takedown to try and survive, but he already looked like he was basically saying no mass at one situation, so they stopped the fight. I'm okay with it. Fiziev gets a third round KO with a wheel kick. Great finish as well, because one thing we haven't had from Fiziev, other than the Moicano one, which was a bit of an early stoppage as well, but still a finish, and a rightful finish, and he probably would have finished it anyway. One thing that we haven't really had from Fiziev is that big, massive KO that's going to promote him forward and give him that big name in the division. Now we've got that big KO. Third round KO as well. Showed an improvement of cardio, let's not forget. Usually he gasses out in the third round. This time he's getting KOs in the third round. Good job by Rafael Fiziev. I believe next for him could be Tony Ferguson, Rafael Dos Anjos, Michael Chandler. You're looking at those names. This was between two of the best guys in the division right now. Maybe even Gregor Gillespie if he wants it in the meantime to show off his takedown defense. Showed good takedown defense here against Brad Riddell. I think that Fiziev looked good, and I think he's ready for the top 10 contenders of the lightweight division. Can't wait for it. You've got Arman Sarukian versus Yoel Alvarez. Winner of that one's going to be a prospect. Now you've got fucking Rafael Fiziev. And I'm sure Brad Riddell can make a comeback because he still looked really good in that fight. And it's not like he lost his chin. He got rocked from a wheel kick and couldn't find his orientation. So, oh good. All good. Fiziev gets a TKO. And I think he's going to be a big name moving forward. I might make a video on him tomorrow as well on a path towards the title if you want me to. So let me know in the comments below. Moving on up the card. Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. I've made a full fight. Let me check. Is it out by now? It is out by now. Fuck. It wasn't uploading for a second. I was worried. But Rob Font, Jose Aldo. Aldo won 3-2. I've watched it again. While I was waiting for that thing to upload and panicking, I was watching Font versus Aldo again. 5-0 on 2 scorecards, not over-exaggerating this, might be some of the worst scorecards in MMA history. I'm not over-exaggerating. I don't want to make this all about the decision. It was a great fight, back and forth war, both guys landing good shots. I thought it was over for Aldo at the midway point of the first round. He got taken down. He was getting pieced up. He injured his left leg. If you didn't notice on the way into the cage, he was limping on it quite badly. So I thought there was a problem there. So if he won this fight with a torn ACL, even more fucking credit to him. But Rob Font, Jose Aldo, great performance by both of them. Rob Font showed up, had great stand-up for the majority of the rounds, but the key moments is where Aldo won this fight. At the end of the first round, he cracks Rob Font, hurts him badly, beats him down to the ground, and finishes with some ground and pound shots at the end of the first. Wins himself the first round because of it. Second round, I gave it to Rob Font in a very close round. Aldo had some moments of control time, but Font landed way more shots, over double the significant strikes at range than Jose Aldo landed, and landed good shots of his own. Good uppercuts, good elbows on the break, good 1-2s, good lead hooks, good uppercuts to the body, good body shots in general. Font was doing very, very good for the majority of this fight, but he didn't have those key moments that won him the rounds that Aldo did. Round 3, dominance from Rob Font. Reasonably competitive round though. Aldo landed good leg kicks, took Font off his feet with a leg kick in the third round as well. Ended up on top for about a minute of control time, but he just didn't really do much damage from the top position. He would lay on top, establish positional control, not really look to ground and pound too much. Font would work his way back up to his feet, and then Font would go back to work with the punches and the kicks. Font won the third round in my opinion. Tripled him on significant strikes. Really dominant round for Font, but competitive. Dominant for Font, though, but reasonably competitive. Aldo stayed in there, had his decent moments in that round too, but I was worried for him in that third round. Then, out of nowhere, Aldo must have improved his cardio. And I was worried Font would gas out as this fight went on, because he was thrown with so much heat early on. And I think he needs to be a little bit more patient. He didn't want to let Aldo get off to a good start, but I think he went so hard early on that he kind of lost his own cardio as the rounds went on, because he was swinging heat and missing quite a bit in those early rounds, even though he was landing a lot too. And Aldo just wasn't really throwing too much, if you'll notice. How many shots did he even throw? Let me have a real look here. Jose Aldo versus Rob Font. Aldo landed 86 strikes to 149 of Font's, 96 total strikes to 193 of Rob Font's, and he threw 41 in round 1, he weren't throwing many shots. Font threw 90. So I think Aldo was reserving himself, waiting for his key moments. Round 4, he knocked down Font again, reversed a takedown, ended up on top, and just sort of stayed there for the rest of the round and won that round because of it. And then round 5, yeah, another situation the same way. Font doing well in round 5, landing the better shots early on, winning the first 3 minutes or 2 minutes or so of the fifth round. And then Aldo landed the big shot. Hurt Rob Font on the chin, then swung that body shot, landed it brutally, hurt Rob Font to the body as well, landed another big shot to the face, then landed a brutal knee to the face at one point, I believe, put down Rob Font in the 5th round, stayed on top, took the back, tried a rear naked choke. Aldo wins the 5th round as well. Great performance by Font though. Showed tenacity on the ground, kept striking, kept elbowing, kept trying to work his way back up with feet on hips, but Aldo kept a great top control game. I think Aldo's size really does benefit him, mainly in the grappling at bantamweight, because at featherweight, if Aldo takes someone down, they're probably going to get back up. At bantamweight, he's got that size to keep him there, and that's really helpful in those later rounds. So, good win for Aldo. Maybe fight Dillashaw, maybe sit out and wait because he's earned it. Definitely in the GOAT list. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.